When we picture our children, we picture the smiling, playful kids with dirt on their pants and flowers in their hair. What we don't picture is them either bullying another kid or being bullied in a playground. An unfortunate reality in almost every single school. What's even worse is nowadays you hear about adults being bullied and online bullying. But what is bullying and how do we handle this very delicate situation? With me is Lisa Raleigh, Darren Green and Dr. Lerato Masemola. Welcome to Doctors Oonzig.
Thank you.
So what is bullying exactly?
Well, I mean, you get different types of bullying. You get emotional bullying and you get physical bullying.
Yeah.
One of the ways that kids could be emotionally bullied is to make them feel like they're not fitting in.
Yeah.
And most kids that have a low self-esteem are the ones that bully first.
You may find that people bully for very different reasons. Sometimes it could be that the children themselves have learned this behavior at home if parents have that kind of bullying type of personality. Or maybe the kids have psychological problems they're dealing with and this is the only way they know how to act it out to relieve themselves of that stress that they're feeling.
Yeah, that inner conflict often needs to escape somewhere and it looks for attention or seeks attention, and even if the behavior is negative sometimes, at least they're getting attention. So they don't actually mind how they're getting it as long as they're getting it. And then obviously the parenting styles are quite useful because parents in general, some of them don't realize they take away the child's ability to learn and to express their own feelings. They actually suppress that freedom by giving them a very rigid framework within which the child must function. So, don't talk too loudly. Don't sit there. Don't do anything. The don't parents.
Rebelling the whole time.
So they constantly, that the poor child feels that they really have to rebel and develop some form of inner voice and own decision making.
Yeah, the kids that are seen and not heard at home will be heard somewhere else.
If they can't assert themselves at home, they assert themselves in alternative environments.
Exactly.
Online bullying.
Adults do it too. Social media, they call them tours. Twitter wars.
I know a lot of people tend to minimize the impact of online bullying because you say just turn the cell phone off, turn the computer off, control or delete. Just leave. It's not like you right in front of the bully over there who's about to pound your face. But this is the reality of where the kids are interacting these days.
Some people, they make statements not necessarily to get a point across, but they actually want a response or reaction. And if they don't get it, they try harder.
Yes.
And sometimes they have to try really hard to get that response.
And you can be a lot more brave if there's not face-to-face interaction. You can say some really nasty things and get away with it.
Imagine you've got so many friends or such a huge following, and you say all these things bullying people and the bravado. If people are like yay, it sometimes makes people feel powerful.
And even in the workplace, we call it intimidation or emotional abuse, but in essence, it's bullying, harassment. Yes.
I think a lot of people are uncertain as to when they themselves are actually bullying someone else, and I think a lot of people need to catch a wake up that how you think you come across and how you are perceived is not always the same thing. And I think that's where we need feedback from people around us in the workplace, at school, but even close family members.
So how do you know when your child is being bullied? What are the signs that you should look out for?
Well, from a physical point of view, there can be a withdrawal from wanting to participate in any kind of physical activity. So not wanting to play sport, not wanting to do physical education and coming up with any kind of excuse on those days. And then on the weekends or in a social environment with your closest friends and family, also not wanting to participate, not wanting to get a bathing suit on and jumping in the pool. And you'll soon be able to tell because those are very much kid things to do. If your child is not participating, there's something going on.
On an emotional level, the child may be, more tearful, they don't want to talk anymore. They may start bullying their own siblings if there's younger kids in the house. They may start, yelling and basically acting out of character. So as a parent, you need to know your child so that you can approach it, because sometimes kids are scared of the reaction from a parent when you tell them, I'm being bullied. And don't ever say, you're talking nonsense, because that will just shut down the child. But also observe their marks. They may start doing very badly at school, where a child is very good academically. They no longer want to go to school, and at school they just, thinking about being bullied, so they don't concentrate. And they lose their self-confidence. If that's if you pick up something like that, then do investigate, because it's something quite serious.
A change in behavior.
Also loss of weight. If the child's they're taking away their lunch menu or their lunch at school, and they're not eating appropriately anymore, which also contributes to loss of concentration because they're hungry throughout the day. So observe physical body changes, including weight loss.
Also the opposite, the emotional eating, filling a void.
Yes.
And this day and age, most people tend to fill the void with food. So if your child's starting to gain weight and eating too much and inappropriate foods, there could be a chance that there's something else going on. And if
so how do you deal with bullying?
If there are clear signs that you can see, then you need to intervene, because leaving the child to go to school where it's getting beat up during the break is not a good thing. So you might have to remove the child from school, but you have to then talk to the authorities, because the parents can't be passive-aggressive either. Just let the child stay at home, take her to the doctor, get a sick note for 3 months. That is not going to help the child in the long run, because they need to go back in that environment, and but you need to be empowered to go back. And the children that are bullying need to be dealt with as well. And it can be difficult, because as a parent who your child is the bully, there's often, you can't accuse my child of that. And therefore, I don't want to engage you in dealing with the problem, because I'm admitting that I'm a failure. I have given birth to a bully. So there's lots of dynamics. You may have to bring in the school psychologist, if there isn't one, an independent one, and to assimilate that child who was bullied back into the school. I mean, it's very, very difficult, for somebody who's been bullied to continue as normal. And we often expect these kids just perform miracles, pass with good grades, and it was just something minor, suck it up.
There are anti-bullying programs as well. There's Bully Proof, which is done by the JAG Foundation, and they do lots of schools, public and private schools. So if you have a bullying problem within your school, then you can actually contact the JAG Foundation, and they will come in and implement an anti-bullying program within your school.
What do they do, for example?
They showed kids what is bullying. Like we've discussed, what is it? Because I don't think a lot of kids even realize that they're being bullied, and then what to do in certain situations. So they break it down, and they do skits. Another thing that I've come across recently is emotional intelligence courses, EQ. Teaching kids more about EQ than IQ. And that is going to be the future of our kids, I tell you.
And what about people in the workplace? I mean, we're referring a lot to schools and children, but adults get bullied daily as well. And I think a lot of us feel helpless in the workplace when you answer to someone that's in a higher position.
Sorry, Darren, I don't want to speak to you now. Can I speak to them?
Yes, and then the person...
That was me being bullying towards you.
I was like, what the hell?
No, you said, how could you do this?
But, with the...
In the workplace, yes, it would happen. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, so in the workplace, it often happens that we feel powerless because the person in a position of authority has the ability to alter our promotion at work or alter our continued employment. So we actually steer away from conflict at work. We don't feel that we have the right to stand up to them, but luckily now there are bodies that actually regulate that, and I think exposing it is the first step. And and you do speak on behalf of thousands of people, not just yourself.
So final thoughts?
I think that if you feel you're being bullied, you need to do an emotional cleanse. And by that I mean getting rid of people in your life that aren't serving you, people that are sabotaging you, and underlying
getting rid
evil,
of people.
It's a very hard thing to do. But we should be doing a detox of the people in our lives that are not affirming us and filling our buckets. I recently read a book called How Full Is Your Bucket? One of the best books I've ever read, about affirming others and how that helps to affirm yourself. And one of the things that I see a lot in my industry with weight loss and wellness is people sabotaging other people's efforts and results. That they are completely threatened. If you're looking amazing and doing really well, they will do whatever they can, and a lot of the time it's underhanded, to cut you back down to size. And I think you ought to be aware of that and be careful of the company you keep.
I think from my side, people must learn to break free from a victim trap. You get so used to the routine and functioning in a suboptimal environment that you learn the behavior of becoming a victim, and then you actually struggle to get out of it. But I think a lot of it stems from the fact that we don't lay down the boundaries properly. Learn to say no when you're booked off sick and it's expected of you to work from home. Learn to say, I can't get to that today, I'm overcommitted and so forth. So boundary setting for me is a big one.
As a parent, I think to other parents, if your child is exhibiting signs of emotional deficiency, take heed that you don't dismiss that. And because maybe you're scared of dealing with your own issues, you don't want to handle what the child is feeling, because those are going to be long-term emotional scars. And that will determine how the child is in future. They might just assume that victim role throughout and be victimized in their teens, when they go to varsity, when they start working. So, close relationship with children is very important. We have to try harder.
Thank you so much, guys, for a very informative and very interesting discussion.